right, welcome to another shop video. Why? Well, if you can hear outside right now, it is absolutely flooding. It is terrible weather. So we're building more turkey bullets, arrows to be exact. And I know it, I switch arrows out all the time, and I kind of change stuff around. Anyway, but for good reason. This is for good reason this time. So what we have is I got a set of RIP TKOs from Victory, 350 spine. They're V1. These are their elite shaft, the straightest of the straightest shaft that they have, and I like them. I like them. I already built a couple sets of them. Been shooting them, tuning them, and I like them. After talking with the guys from Victory, I know that I was a gold tip guy for a while, and they done me good. They treated me right, but after talking with a couple of guys from Victory, you know, they're great guys, but I learned a lot. What we actually did talk about arrows, I learned a lot. So Victory, before we get into the video, a little bit of a backstory. Victory Arrows is the #1 leading carbon in America, manufacturer. Like, made in America, I like that. They are truly made in America. They're the #1 leading in carbon, and they are a 100% carbon shaft. So one thing that I did find out that was cool is that most of your companies that are actually saying they're carbon arrows actually have fiberglass in the center of their arrow shaft, and then they wrap it with carbon. And this one is 100% carbon weave. No fiberglass, no nothing. They measure the full length straightness on the mandrel on it. They got one mandrel that they go off of for every one of the arrows. They don't have multiple mandrels that spin around and swap out and spin another diameter, because that's how you end up getting your wonky straightness, like 3,000s, 5,000s, 6,000 straightness, or they're not as straight as they're supposed to be. These things are tough. They're sexy arrows. I like the looks of them. And they switched out their half outs. So the half outs now, they look like a little stainless, but they are short, stout, stocky, thick little boys. And I like that. I like short, thick little Reboot. They're better half outs. That's where I'm getting at. And I like that. I like it a lot because I don't like full outserts. They bend. I've shot enough full outserts on arrow shafts that when they hit something, they're going to bend. Had some on my gold tips, and the 166 shafts, they were real long, full outserts, and I hit something hard and they bent. I don't like it. I don't like stuff bending. I like stuff to be able to blow through things. So kudos to them. Now, if you would have went to Victory probably about 10 years ago, maybe a little bit further back, to be honest, they probably weren't the best. I've shot a few of them, but they have really upgraded the industry standard, and they've really, I mean, blown away their products to where now they're like the #1 arrow that everybody's shooting. And that says something for them. So a little backstory on them, but I like them. They're great. Let's get to building some turkey arrows. So before I get to cutting these, usually I'll take the knock out of the back of this before I cut it. But Victory, and square it off just to make sure that it's square and everything's good. But Victory has done such a good job squaring the back of these shafts that I don't have to take the knock off. Everything looks good and flush on it. So all I'm going to do is cut off the front. Now, when you cut arrows, it's all personal preference. I cut mine where my outsert's like right in the center of my burger hole, just like a 1/4 inch in front of my wrist. I don't do that per se because I'm afraid that the broadhead's over my fingers and stuff. I don't care if my broadhead's over my fingers. It's not going to lob my finger off. It doesn't scare me. The reason I do it is because I've found that if I cut my arrow shorter, I can get a little bit heavier arrow and keep the same velocity as if I have a longer arrow sticking out. You know, if I have a shaft sticking out in front of the bow riser like that, then I can actually cut off a little bit more and have around about 450 grains and keep my same velocity versus having a long arrow shaft out there. And I just like a shorter arrow. I feel like it goes better through the winds, and it's just personal preference. So I'm going to cut this off whenever you cut it. My arrow saw is older than Methuselah. Whenever you cut, you want to spin into the blade and push in. So you're wanting to spin and push in as you go slow. All right, so once you get your arrows fixed up and cut, you're gonna wanna get denatured alcohol and clean out your shaft where your fletchings are going, and then get some Q-tips, clean the outside and clean the inside of this so you get good glue contact. Even though that you think that your arrow shafts are absolutely clean, whenever you go to fletch them up, they are not. So you are going to have stuff on the outside of it, and you need to clean that off. If not, your fletchings are gonna fall off. And that's like the main reason that fletchings don't stick. Everybody's gonna tell you, oh, it's the fletching material. Oh, you don't have a primer pin. Oh, this and that. Which, I mean, there's some truth to that a little bit. But 9 times out of 10, it's because you ain't got clean carbon. If you got clean carbon, anything's gonna stick. It don't matter what glue you use or anything else, it's gonna stick. So just clean your shaft and clean the inside of it. See, look at there, that old dirty crap. And that's why a lot of y'all, and me, I mean, I've done it, that's how I learned it, is from failure. You know, I was ornery, and I didn't clean it, and my outsert pulled out into the target, and I was like, oh man, this glue sucks. It wasn't the glue, it was my fault because I didn't clean the inside of my shaft, and all it did was get a bunch of crap on it. So this is a real crucial step to clean the shaft out good, then we can get to fletching. All right, so the fletching jig that I use is a Bitzenberger. There's a bunch of jigs out there, they all work good, but this Bitzenberger here, in my opinion, has probably been one of the best fletching jigs that I've ever had. You can get the last chance jig and it tells you your whole degree and everything of that nature, but for the money and for as good as a job as it does, you absolutely cannot beat this Bitzenberger. And if you got an at-home bow shop, I'm cheap. I ain't spending $300 on a last chance jig. If they want to give me a jig, I'll use it. I'm not spending 300 bucks on it. But you absolutely cannot beat this Bitzenberger. You can get whatever degree you want. You can get the straight clamp like I have here. You can get the helical clamp. There's just so many adjustments for the price point of it. You can't beat it. Always clean your clamp. For all my arrows, 3-degree offset, left offset. And on these shafts, they do have a spinal line, and it does work. The spinal line is correct. So whatever everybody tells you, like, oh, well, that's junk. No, it's correct. It works. Shot it through paper. You want your spine to be up. I shot it through paper, shot a bullet hole. The spine's right. They got the arrow on here, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to fletch. I want to fletch with this spine, so I'm not hitting anything on it. With me doing a 4-fletch, I'm going to fletch each one of my fletchings to where the spine is in the center of 2 fletchings, because I always put that spine up, and I got 2 fletchings coming up like this all the time till I do every one of my arrows. All right, last fletching. We are Gucci. Make sure that we got all of our access cleaned off. And we do. And that's how you get a clean looking fletch job. Now it's time to put in our outsert. Now with outserts and half outs, I know I usually like do my lights and my heavies, but they done such a good job in matching them up that I ain't got to. Every one of these arrows have been really close. Now they do have their own outsert glue that they recommend to use, and sadly I do not have any. So we're just going to use our old faithful glue. I'm going to clean off this half out with some denatured alcohol before I put it in there too. I about messed up. Pro tip, small tip. Before you put your half outs or your inserts or whatever in, take the knock out of the back of your shaft. It's not a big catastrophic thing that you have to do, but it is a small thing because it can create an air pocket and it can push that back out before the glue dries. So I always take it out now. So when I push it in, it don't have any air pockets in it. And you don't have to stand it up like this to let it dry, because I have stood them up like this to let them dry and glue go back down into the half out or the insert, and then you can't get your point in there and you gotta knock that out and re-glue it. So small thing, very tiny thing, just take your knock out and it'll help you out on your outserts. Then we're just gonna spin it slowly, just spin it up, make sure we get good coverage. Right there. And then clean off your access, and I don't have anything else, so we're just gonna wipe this glue off on my pants because my pants are ruined anyway. So we're gonna let that dry for a little bit before we actually put the knock back in, because you can put the knock in and kind of push it out a little bit, but there you go. That is a sexy looking arrow to go through a turkey right now. So I run and pull the turkey target from outside to inside, and I know it's like 10 yards. I can't shoot outside in this crap. So I'm gonna dome piecing and see how that does. I will be shooting the G5 Mega Meats for turkeys. They worked great the other times I used them. Chris might be able to shoot the decap broadheads. Termite has not had that much fun with them. So we're gonna go back to regular broadheads, because if I wanna lob a turkey at 50 yards, I'm going to. But if he's 10 yards, I'm gonna dome piece him. So let's sling some in here and see if we can cut his forehead. Yep. Oh, right in the medulla oblongata. So that's gonna do it for this video. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Go get you some victories. Go smack you some turkeys this season. I'll catch you guys in the next one.